Hey there everybody. Today I wanted to make a quick video to share my favorite timing method or method for using tarot cards to predict when a certain event is going to come to pass. Now, as a professional tarot reader, this is a question I get a lot. People just want to know when things are going to happen. And I will say that I don't actually use this method very often in my professional reading practice because I find that predicting timing can be pretty tricky. Whenever we pull a spread of tarot cards for us or for somebody else, those cards are capturing a certain moment in time. And when you are doing a prediction or timing question, there's any number of events or minds that can be changed between the time you pull your cards and the actual event coming to pass that can influence when something goes down or even how it goes down. So that's why a lot of tarot readers actually avoid predictions altogether. And you may want to instead just use the tarot cards to explore the present moment, to understand, areas of action that you can take to move a situation in a certain direction like that, and avoid this altogether. But this can be a fun method to use for your own personal tarot draws, especially if you find yourself in a situation where there isn't much room for you to act. Now, like for example, well, I'll run through this example, but a good time to do a timing question is when you've determined that there isn't that much that the querent can do to change the outcome because the situation is out of their hands. They just want to know when they can expect to hear back from something or someone. And when not to do a timing reading would be obviously when the querent does have some room to enact some change. So again, we want to use tarot to empower our clients, not make them come away with the belief that, when we say, oh, yes, you are going to find a job in 5 months, that's set in stone because maybe there's things that they can do if they hear that, and as a consequence don't put out as great of an effort because they think it's in the bag, then it could take longer. They could actually, they can actually change the outcome of the events by actually listening to your timing advice. So you want to be careful about when you use timing methods in your professional reading practice, but when you're just doing this at home for fun for yourself, I think this is something that you may enjoy doing. That said, this method employs the concept of the 4 elements to determine the time frame of something, with the element of fire being the fastest moving element. So whenever I pull a card from the suit of wands, for example, for me that means the event is going to come to pass within a time frame of hours or days. The element of air, or the suit of swords, represents the second fastest element amongst the 4 elements. So pulling a card from the suit of swords will represent a time span of days or weeks. And the suit of element of water, or the suit of cups, is the 3rd fastest element. So for me, that could represent a time span of weeks or months. And then cards from the that are earth cards or from the suit of pentacles are the slowest moving element. So that could represent a time span of months or years. So once I've pulled my card, I will look at the element and combine that with the number on the card to determine a certain time frame to answer the question. Now, if I pull a major arcana card, that for me means that whether or not the event is going to happen at all will depend on whether the querent has internalized or learned the lesson represented by that card. And it could take a while. It's kind of an indefinite answer that we don't know because it depends on how well you learned the lesson of justice, for example. So let's run through a couple of examples. So let's say I have a querent who comes to me and she wants to know when her mother-in-law is going to next call her for whatever reason. So, that's a question where it could happen feasibly within the time frame of minutes or even hours. So that I may want to include that in the, the time frame, the time increment that I go with. So let's say the card that I pull is the Ace of Pentacles. So, for me, people tend to call each other pretty frequently. Maybe they call once a month because Pentacles can represent either, months or years. It could represent maybe 1 year, depending on how frequently they talk, but it's probably not going to happen within the time frame of a few hours. That's when we can read this card. Let's say the next card I pull, same question, and let's say I get the the Nine of Pentacles. So the Nine of Pentacles, it's a 9, so I would say maybe 9 months, which seems like quite a ways off. Or, you know, maybe they had a feud, it'll be 9 years that they next speak to one another. So that's what I would get for that. Okay, let's take another question. Let's say I have a querent who has just applied to college, and she sent in her application and her materials, and she wants to know when she's going to hear back from the admissions board. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle my cards. And let's say I pull, the card I get is the, oh wow, hey, there we go. The Nine of Pentacles again. So, you know, it usually does not take that long to hear back from admissions board. So this would actually suggest, I won't say 9 years because that seems a little bit too extreme, but 9 months. Maybe she applied for, like, you know, she sent in her application way early, so it's going to take a while for them to get back to her. Let's say I pull, reshuffle my cards again, same question. And let's say the next card I get is the Hierophant. So this is an example of a Major Arcana card. And it's interesting we have a question about the university because the Hierophant is about teaching and learning certain principles and maybe even structure and bureaucracy. I associate this card with those kinds of things. So this actually says it depends because maybe, you know, Earth energy is pretty stagnant, so maybe something got stuck because the Hierophant could be pretty rigid, and maybe there's a certain bureaucracy her application is going through, but maybe she needs to get in touch with the administration to make sure that everything is okay with her application. That's how I would interpret this card. So it's contingent upon the querent taking the advice of the Major Arcana card. Let's do one more example. So let's say I get the Five of Wands. So this is an example of a very fast moving element. And so here I would say, well, it could be actually a matter of 5 days. You may hear from them relatively soon because it is, you know, Wands energy. It's going to happen pretty quickly. All right, so that is my timing method. I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you like what you see, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can also catch me on the web at eternalathena.com. You can go there to book a reading, and also that is where I blog. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later.